It begins at midnight. You're alone. A sound, faint, almost drowned out by your own heartbeat, echoes through the hallways. It's a secret whisper, as if the house itself is warning you. Don't proceed. That's where we start. That's where the descent begins. You've been told most men don't survive what they aren't prepared to see. Tonight, you will. Tonight, I'm handing you the key to a door you were never supposed to unlock. You heard about Clover, South Carolina? March 1st, 2007. A utility worker shivers under a scorching afternoon sun, shutting off gas at a stranger's house. He hears a dog. Panic barks, desperate. He knocks. No voice replies, but the barking, relentless. Behind that door, Margaret Kennedy, a reclusive widow, lay in silence. Her phone dead for months. Her neighbors ghosts. Finally, something in that house moved him to call the police. But why? The dog wasn't barking to be let out. It was barking to be warned. Don't go in. And now you're here. You're listening. What happened next didn't stay in police records. No, this is true darkness. Margaret's journals were chilling. Entries about midnight screams, toys moving on their own, dogs trembling before invisible presences, bizarre mechanical dolls, thaumaturgic clown roly-poly toys, burned sigils in closets, a mutilated Yorkie, a heart, and then hers. This isn't folklore. It's a psychological saboteur, a control system operating unseen, manipulating every angle of her life. Hidden agendas woven through her reality. Something ancient, something hungry. And it doesn't just erase people, it fractures the mind. Once you know this truth, there is no going back. That's who I am here to be. The mentor with dangerous insights. I'm reaching into your dark side and pulling out something you can't unsee. By the end of this journey, you'll understand how deep these systems run and why they choose men like us to carry their weight. You'll know how these forces corrupt institutions, hearts, and your very mind. You wanted paranoia, real paranoia. This is the doorway. Take a deep breath, because once you walk through, your perception changes forever. Certainly. Proceeding with Section 2, continuing the descent into forbidden truths. Section 2, it wasn't just haunting, it was orchestrated. You can almost hear the agenda sliding its claws into her mind. Paranoia isn't a glitch, it's a feature. Margaret believed she was safe, locked in her home. But every lock, every window became part of the manipulation. Dogs quivering in terror at nothing. Why? Because something watches in the dark, something that knows you're watching back. Think mechanical dolls, crawling like they've come alive. Trophies placed deliberately. Burned symbols carved into walls, archaic sigils whispering Latin curses nobody remembers. These are not random acts. They are signs, warnings, tools of psychological warfare. You feel pressured under an unseen thumb, like your thoughts aren't your own. That's not fear, it's control. Let's connect the dots. An older woman, isolated, grieving. An ideal target. Vulnerability is the perfect entry point. Isolation sharpens our senses, but it also weakens our defenses. When you're alone and scared, a whisper becomes thunder. A shifting shadow becomes a stalking predator. That's the point. It's about breaking you slowly, making you question your senses, then your sanity. By design. And the power behind it? Institutional. Ancient puppet masters. They run under the radar. Secret societies buried within agencies and religious orders. Their corruption hides in plain sight. They manipulate tragedies to feed a cycle. The cycle that keeps you compliant, fearful, powerless. Here's where you come in. You, sitting here, absorbing this in the safety of a screen. But safety is an illusion. Once awareness sparks, like now, you carry a target. The grip tightens. These agendas notice. They track anomalies. They erase them. So this content isn't entertainment. It's a risk, a weapon, a shield. Use it to armor yourself or be consumed by it. You want hidden forces? Here they are. Symbols burned into walls are more than marks. They are doors. doors to realms powered by belief and fear. Every burned symbol ties to dozens of lost cults. Exorcisms gone wrong, conspiracies drilled into the foundations of patriarchal empires. Their purpose? Keep secrets hidden, steer human evolution away from self-sovereignty, back into obedience. Margaret couldn't fight them. She had no guide. But now you do. So steel yourself, because Section 3 awaits, and it goes deeper. If this hits you, leave a comment. I see the shadow. I see the shadow. Lock in your identity transformation and engage this algorithmic signal. You think burnt symbols in closets are random? You're wrong. Each one is a loaded sigil, a deliberate act of psychological warfare. These aren't doodles. They're chaos tech, symbols forged in medieval alchemy, designed to bypass your conscious mind and hammer your subconscious with primal fear. Lilith cult. Imagine stumbling on a twisted pentagram or an Icelandic stave, ancient codes triggering emotional terror encoded in your DNA. These glyphs aren't relics. They're live circuits in a hidden control grid. A burned symbol on a closet wall is a magnet, pulling unseen forces, aligning them with agendas that want your psyche in pieces. Every line whispers commands. Doubt yourself. Hide. Obey. Margaret never studied occult. She didn't belong to cults. Still, once the symbols appeared, first the crawling doll, then the clown toy, they weren't gifts. They were inspections, probes, tests. They checked thresholds, how much she'd endure before fracturing. They staged nights when her dogs bolted, woke her at 3 a.m., paused her in terror. This is routine psych warfare, centuries old. Think Battle of Pelusium. Persians painted pigs to terrorize Egyptians. An emotional ambush, now by an ancient darkness. The power behind these symbols? Hidden hierarchies, secret societies operating inside institutions. Each sigil links to a broader network. The Order of Nine Angles, Luciferian bloodline pacts. Undercover intelligence programs tapping into dark magic. These groups traffic in symbols because symbols bypass logic. They go straight to the gut. They force compliance. That old mechanical doll, that clown toy, those weren't toys. They are catalog sigils, relic triggers. Every culture uses them. Egyptians had Ankhs. Freemasons had the Eye of Providence. German had the Black Sun. When you see them in your life, uninvited, they're targeted, carefully chosen. They were placed to break her. This isn't horror storytelling. It's a blueprint, a system so covert, no one ever cracks the code unless they know to look for the patterns. The burned closet marking? Likely a binding glyph, tying her spirit to a ritual cycle. Next step, actual obliteration. Her demise wasn't random. It was execution. And after it, the dogs, the journals, but no body. That absence is the final sigil, erasure. This network thrives on fear and disappearance. If you feared symbols and shadows, you're not paranoid. You're awake. But don't stop. You must understand the architecture of control. And that's what we do next in Section 4. Feel that tightening in your chest? That's the architecture of control. Built not with bricks, but with symbols that bypass your mind's defenses. A burned sigil on a closet wall isn't decoration. It's a psychological weapon. In occult praxis, a sigil is a seal, an encoded intent meant to bypass logical thought and embed itself in the unconscious, triggering emotional obedience or terror. Left on a wall, hidden in closets, these sigils become live sigils, activated through fear. When Margaret found them, she didn't see arcane graffiti. She felt the weight of centuries-old magic, the dolor in her dog's whimpers, the panic. Because occultists have used sigils for centuries, from the Renaissance grimoire writers to chaos magicians, specifically to manipulate minds, summon unseen forces, hijack your internal narrative. These symbols are chosen with precision. Medieval magicians drew from the Key of Solomon. Modern chaos magicians like Austin Osman Spare simplified their approach, creating personal, subconscious triggers, occult experiments in the home. A mechanical doll left in a child's closet isn't child's play. It's a vessel carrying that sigil's energy, grenading the psyche without making a sound. This is institutional-grade psychological warfare. Secret societies, agents within intelligence agencies, occult orders, they weaponize symbols through media, architecture, event staging, even cemeteries, embedding mental viruses deep inside collective behavior. A burned sigil, mechanical toy, these are not random hauntings. They're signals of an organized operation to destabilize minds and enforce compliance. And when the final phase arrives, erasure, they don't just kill, they erase existence. Margaret's heart, gone. Her body, never found. The message is clear. Fear the signal. No one will come for you. That's the doctrine of the sigil. They strip you of identity, leave you lost in a reality they control. You feel it, right? That you're falling deeper. You're not imagining it. You're becoming aware of the system. In Section 5, we trace the origins, how ancient corruption spawned modern agendas that still govern your deepest fears. Andy. Now you standing at the threshold. Ancient corruption meets modern machinery. Sigils aren't just symbols. They are programmed intent, etched to penetrate your subconscious and twist your psyche. From the earliest civilizations, Egyptians, Sumerians, to medieval alchemists like Cornelius Agrippa, sigils were used to awaken spiritual forces, establish talismans, and hold demons at bay, or summon them in ritual texts like the Lesser Key of Solomon. They aren't folklore, they're foundational. In the 20th century, Austin Osman Spare cracked the code, revealing that sigils bypass conscious resistance and root straight in the unconscious mind. Occult experiments in the home. He showed how a symbol burnt or hidden in a mundane space can get lodged in the psyche, activated later by fear or suggestion. That crawling mechanical doll Margaret found, it wasn't random. It was a vessel, an automaton trigger, loaded with intent, designed to imprison her mind. Why dolls? Because they are uncanny, innocence twisted, a regression to fear. Psychologists even associate dolls with psychopathology, a regression to infantile terror, helplessness. That mechanical, porcelain presence in a child's closet is a psychological landmine. You expect comfort, but you feel hunted. That contradiction fractures your defense. When secret societies and intelligence factions discovered this, forged by chaos magicians, hidden orders, dark networks, they weaponized it. They line-style brand these triggers into architecture, media, even cemeteries, to embed fear systems in society at scale. The burned closet glyph in Margaret's home was no accident. It was a signal flare from a hidden agenda. Modern media amplifies this. You see pentagrams in streaming shows. You scroll past inverted crosses in ads. Each is a piece of broadcasting-level manipulation, programming your fears, normalizing control structures in your subconscious. Just as Spare once weaponized symbols to bypass logic, these agendas weaponize them to bypass freedom. Understand this. If a doll in your closet unsettles you, that's not superstition. That's your mind refusing to comply. If an ancient symbol etched on a wall grips your soul, it's intelligence, ancient and modern, working in tandem to keep you off balance. You've absorbed this pattern. Ancient sigils, modern automata, institutional broadcast systems. That's the architecture of fear. From here, we escalate. Section 6 strips away the institution's mask and reveals the raw mechanism. How elite architects cook up paranoia to rule.